Hello and welcome to Mark and Kelly's Trips, Tips and Things. So today I'm going to be cooking another one from the Supernatural Cookbook. That's right, this time we're going to be making Metatron's Waffles. When Metatron takes human form, the first thing he eats are these delicious sweet treats. That's right, these waffles are laced with delicious strawberries. But before we cook, please like, share and subscribe this video. Anyway, let's get cooking. Okay, so this is our ingredients for the Metatron's Waffles. So we're going to split this a little bit. Let's start with the waffles. So first of all, we're going to need 2 cups of flour. I'm just using plain flour. We'll need half a cup of sugar, which I've got right there. I'm just using regular granulated sugar. 4 teaspoons of baking powder to give it that rise. We're going to need a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. So I'll do that later. 2 eggs, and we're going to need to separate these eggs. So we're going to separate the yolk from the whites. We're going to need 1 3/4 cups of milk, and I'm going to use whole milk just for the nice flavour. We're going to need half a cup of butter, all right, and then we're going to melt the butter. So it's quite a bit of butter to go in this. Do add the butter though, it really does add to that flavour. Then moving on, we got 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and do use the extract rather than the essence. It does give it that nice flavour. And we're going to need 1 cup of strawberries chopped. Now, I've got a huge punnett of strawberries here, as you can see. The part of it's going to go into the sauce, okay? Which we're going to come on to now. So for the sauce, it says, now the recipe says for 1 pound of strawberries. So I'm pretty much going to use, this is 800 grams. I'm going to use this partly for the topping and partly for the sauce. So you will need that. You'll need another ½ cup of sugar. So I've got my ½ cup here for the waffles, but you'll need another ½ cup for the sauce. And juice of half a lemon, which I've got right there. So there we are. There's our ingredients. Let's get on with our Metatron's Waffles. And before we start, remember, you will need a waffle iron for this recipe, as I mentioned. So let's get cooking. Right then, so first, let's do our strawberry sauce. Now, the reason you want to do the strawberry sauce first is because you want to let it to cool. So first of all, we're going to take our strawberries. Now, this is 1 pound of strawberries, so good old Google told me that's about 450 grams, okay? So we're going to put those in. In they go. And I've obviously washed them and taken off the stalks. Next, we're going to need our sugar. So we're going to add that in. And then we're going to add in our half a juice of lemon. So that's going to go in there. Right, now, first of all now, what we're going to want to do is turn on the heat. I always get the wrong one. There we go. So our heat's on there. And we want that sort of medium-high initially. And we're just going to break these down, these strawberries down with the sugar and that lemon juice. It's going to naturally turn into a sauce. You're going to see all those strawberries release their juices. So we don't need to add any other further liquid. I love making the strawberry sauce. I've made it before. If you've seen my video on the bulletproof skillet pancake, you'll see I've made the strawberry sauce once before. But this is a different recipe. This one calls for lemon juice. All right, we're going to let this break down and we'll be on to our next stage. Okay then, so you can see now I've started to bring this to the boil. It's starting to boil up. I would recommend as well just dicing up your strawberries just so they break down a lot easier. Once you reach this stage where it just starts to boil, bring the temperature right down. Because what we're going to now do is just let that simmer for 15 minutes. Alright, just let it do its thing. Let it simmer just gently. And we can get on with making our waffle batter. Alright, we'll see you in 15. Okay, so that's been 15 minutes, and as you can see, those strawberries have just started to break down. It's been bubbling away, so that's exactly how we want it. Now I've put some strawberries aside, a cup of strawberries, because that will be needed later on. But now what we want to do is turn the heat off, and you're just going to let that cool. So let that sit aside, and let's get on with our waffles. Okay, for our next stage, you're going to need 3 bowls. Now, the reason you need 3 bowls is one bowl is going to have your wet ingredients in, one bowl is going to have your dry ingredients in, and the other bowl we're going to need to have our egg white. So we're going to separate our eggs, and the yolk's going to go in with the milk, and the whites are going to be whisked separately, okay? So let's get on to our next stage. Okay, let's start off with our dry ingredients. So we'll have our little bowl, and we're going to add into this our flour, our sugar, baking powder, and our salt. I'm just going to give that a good old mix. Okay, that's our dry ingredients done. Let's go on to the wet ingredients. Okay, so let's now go on to our wet ingredients. So for this, we are going to add our egg yolks, our milk, the melted butter, and last but not least, our vanilla. Chef's measurements there. Right, next thing you want to do is give this a good old whisk. There we have it, all mixed up, ready to go. Last but not least is going to be our egg whites. Right, now for our whisk, or for our egg whites I should say, do get a whisk here. It's much, much quicker than hand beating it. So I'm going to add in our egg whites. And what we're going to want to do is we want this to be whipped up to a stiff peak. So almost like a meringue. Almost like meringue consistency, okay? So start on the medium and beat them up. There we go. So we're starting to form soft peaks. You know these Metatron waffles are going to be really light and fluffy. Right, let's get on to our next stage. Right, so you'll remember our wet ingredients. I've brought them back out here. So the next stage is we're going to now add our dry ingredients, which we mixed earlier, into our wet ingredients. So the idea is you just slowly add a little bit at a time and then whisk it in. And I've kept my little whisk here just because it's easier. The ones I use to beat the egg whites in. And there we go, our lovely light and fluffy waffle batter. Now we're going to make this even lighter. We're going to add in gently and fold in those egg whites. Okay, here we go. Okay, here are the egg whites, and we're just going to fold them in. So just add in a tiny bit at a time and just gently fold it in. So the idea is we want to keep this as light as we possibly can, so don't overmix. He says over mixing. Here we are, just let gently, gently, gently fold. Add a few bit more in. So quite a few steps to this recipe, but we're going to hope this is all worth it. And I really want to try and incorporate it in as best I can, because we don't want any bits of egg white in there. Here we go. Okay, so I'm about halfway through mixing, and if you remember, I kept a cup full of strawberries to one side, and I've just chopped them up slightly, and we're going to add those into the batter. There we go. So make sure they are relatively nice chunks. And then we're just going to fold those in. So carry on with your folding, fold in all those strawberries. So we're going to have a nice surprise when you have your waffles. So there we are, there we have it. This is pretty much ready to go. I mixed this as much as I dare because I didn't want to over mix. So we're going to grab our waffle iron, get that heating up, and we are ready to cook. Okay, we're on the last stretch. Here we go. So we've got our little waffle iron here. As I said before, you will need one of these in order to cook your waffles. My one was from Argos. I'll link it in the description below in case you're interested in getting one similar to. This is the flip one, the flip waffle maker. So we'll just open her up. You can see that's ready, heated. Now the recipe does say to spray with non-stick oil on your waffle maker. This one I'm not going to do because it is actually quite good in the sense that you don't really need it. Right, okay, so I've got my little batter mix here. You can see I've got a spoonful of it. Now with timings, it's going to be really dependent on your waffle iron. Okay, so you might have to play it by ear a little bit. So with this one, as you can see those chunks of strawberries in there. Now I may have overfilled that one slightly. So with this waffle iron, if you overfill it, it drips over the side. But it's okay, we can clean that up. Okay, there we are. So this one I'm going to shut. And it's going to take about 2.5 minutes each side. But remember, it will depend on your waffle maker. You can already see that splurting out the side there where I overfilled it slightly. So if you've got your waffle maker, you've not used it before, just experiment a little bit and see how it goes. Anyway, let's let that cook. Okay, so with this particular waffle iron, it's been 2.5 minutes. We just flip it over. And you can see all the batter that's leaked. And then we just carry on cooking. So another 2.5 minutes. Okay, that's been 2.5 minutes. Let's give them a flip. So remember, it will depend on your actual machine how long to cook them. But let's try. Hey, they aren't that bad. Look at those. You can actually see tiny little flakes where the strawberries actually, not burnt, but I think it's just where it's cooked against the actual waffle iron itself. But those aren't too bad. Right, I'm going to fish these out gently, and I shouldn't really be using a fork. I should use something that's not going to scratch the surface. I'll fish them out. We'll do a couple more. We'll put them on a plate, and then we'll do the grand taste test. There we are, guys, and look at that. So there's quite a few there. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, and there's more batter. I only did 6. So it'll probably make you anything up to 12, 10 to 12. You'll remember this, the strawberry sauce, which I let cool. So I'm just going to pour that on the top. I tell you, the sauce and the pancakes look absolutely amazing, look. As I dribble that on, it does smell so much like strawberry jam. So if you like strawberries, and there's strawberries in the pancake as well, remember. So let me just get some of the liquid on there. There we go. And last but not least, just because I couldn't resist, I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of cream just to go on the top there. There, look at that. There you have it. Metatron's waffles. You know what comes next? It's the taste test. Okay, here we go. Metatron's waffles. That is so good. Oh my word. It's that strawberry sauce. It's almost like a smoothie. It's so good. Actually, I have to have another little bit of that. It's so rich. It's almost like a jam as well. Very, very sweet, but really good. And those waffles are so light. Now, I know it's a bit of a faff doing 3 separate bowls to make it, but I've got to say that is well worth it. The effort you put into it is delicious. Now, let me just try the waffle bit on its own, because I know we put strawberries in the batter. the strawberries have actually melted into that batter. It's so light, so, oh, that's delicious. Oh, I'm just gonna chow through those. That is so, so good. I've got to say that's one of the best waffles I've actually made. And then whenever I do these recipes, you're actually seeing it for the first time, because this is the first time I've made it. Well worth making, really enjoyed that. There you go, Metatron's waffles. That's a big thumbs up from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. I'm gonna definitely enjoy eating it. That's it for Mark and Kelly's Trips, Tips and Things for this particular episode. Look after yourselves, take care, and remember, you're never too old to have fun. Bye for now.